Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Dito lang sa kabahagi ng bawat Pilipino, Radyo Pilipino.
Wagi sa kaalaman, kabahagi sa kaligtasan.
Gana sa karaman, kaparte sa seguridad.
Analo at kakapatan, kabiyangan at kilalaban.
XCO 1044 Cagayan de Oro, DXGS 765 General Santos, DXOC 1494 Ozami, DXOW 981 Davao at Radyo Pilipino Podcast Center Manila. Ito ang kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino, napapakinggan on air and online sa buong mundo sa pamamagitan ng www.radiopilipino.com. Impormasyong may kalidad at serbisyong may halaga. Kasama katuwang Kapinoy. Kabahagi mo. Radyo Pilipino. Radyo Pilipino. Pulsong Pinoy. Kabahagi ng bawat Pilipino. Pulsong Pinoy. Ang programang magbibigay linaw sa mga katanungan sa politika, negosyo at kalusugan. Pulsuhan natin yan. Pulsong Pinoy. Kasama ang kabahagi mo. Ben Paipon. Pulsong Pinoy.
Pilipinas, magandang hapon. Philippines, good afternoon. Hi, Miss Universe, magandang hapon. And welcome now to the program Pulsong Pinoy, special edition. Sapagkat ngayon pong araw na ito, July 24, ay sona ng ating Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, the second sona of the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Ako po si Ben Paipon, welcoming you na to this program, Pulsong Pinoy, Special Edition, State of the Nation Address. Tayo po ang magbibigay, natasan na magbigay po sa inyo ng ilang mga mahalagang bagay, kaugnay po sa second sona ng ating Pangulo. What do you expect today? And of course, mga kabayan, what do we expect from the President to do also during his term as President of the Republic of the Philippines? So welcome now to the program, Pulsong Pinoy. Alas 3 hanggang matapos po ang soda ng Pangulong Marcos. That's about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Stay with us, mga kababayan, while you give you the sona of the President today, with comments also from you. Kayo na nanonood at nakikinig sa ating programa, please share with us your reactions and comments. Ano po ang tingin po ninyo ang sasabihin po ng Pangulong Marcos sa kanyang sona today? Alam po ninyo, mga kababayan, ano kaya ang battle plan ng Pangulong Marcos for the next year, di ba? Or the next years of his presidency. Ano kayo yung kanyang battle plan? Mamaya po titignan natin. Ano po yung kanyang mga naibigay ho sa atin bilang source of inspiration or hope dito po sa ating bansa as Filipinos. Nung first sona po niya. Ano ang battle plan ng Pangulo ngayon? Ano sa tingin ninyo, mga kababayan? Please make your comments. What's the roadmap? Ano po ngayon ang sinusunod na plano ng ating Pangulong Marcos, mga kababayan? And most especially, ano kaya yung mga marching words of the President today? Okay? Meron siyang mga iniwanang marching words nung first sona po niya. And yan po ay babalikan din natin. Parang yung bang let us remember the past to make the future a better one. Di ba? Hindi po yung alalahanin po natin yung nakaraan at mapapako na ho tayo doon. Hindi po. Let us remember the past to make the future a better one for everybody. Kanya nga po, tinitignan ko ngayon natin dito, ano yung battle plan ngayon ng ating Pangulo? What's the roadmap? What are the marching orders na gagawin po ng ating Pangulo in relation with what he promised in his first SONA? Ayan o, mga kababayan. Mabuti sana kung wala siyang mga pangako nung una at wala siyang babalikan, di ba? Pero mga kababayan, balikan na natin konti ang mga salient features of the first SONA of the President nung nakaraang taon. Mahalaga na malaman po natin na meron po siyang mga iniwanang mga pag-asa ho para sa bawat Pilipino.
Mga kaibigan,
unang-una,
ngayong
sa kanyang address, the first part of his address was focused on tax reforms. Mga reforma sa pagbubuwis ng ating bansa. Tungo po sa pagkakaroon ng tinatawag na enhanced investment para sa bansang Pilipinas. Alam po ninyo, nung araw maraming mga reklamo, mga foreign investors natin. Ang hihigpit ng mga pulisiya ninyo, ang hihigpit ng mga guidelines po ninyo sa pagbubuwis, and hindi kami makahinga. Parang yan po ang mga sinasabi ng mga foreign investors. Kanya ang ating Pangulo, let us make the Philippines the best investment hub in the world. Yan po ang kanyang pangako po, mga buwan. Kanya tinignan po niya ang mga reforma sa pagbubuwis, reforma po sa investment. Sapagkat kung nakatali po tayo sa mga pulisiya, strict policies po, mga kababayan, at hindi po makahinga ang mga investors natin, hindi po natin sila mahihikayat na mag-invest dito po sa ating bansa. So yan po ang unang in-address ng ating Pangulo nung first SONA po niya. He also acknowledged, alam po ninyo, ito po ang matindi sapagkat ng first SONA ng ating Pangulo, nakaranas po tayo ng pagtaas ng mga presyo ng mga bilihin, especially from the agricultural sector po. He acknowledged soaring prices of agri-products, high prices, lack of supply. Yan po ang problema po natin ngayon, mga kababayan. At ibinigay po niya na solusyon. Bibili po ang gobyerno natin in bulk sa government to government ng mga abono, pestisidyo, and ano pa ba yung mga nabanggit po ng Pangulo? Pestisidyo, punla, yung siblings, mga kababayan. At kasama na po dyan yung fuel subsidy and ayuda sa ating pong mga magsasaka. So makikita ko ninyo, mga kababayan, meron po siyang merong direksyon ang Pangulo Marcos. Kanya nga lamang yung sinasabi po niyang in bulk na abono, pestisidyo, punla, funds, fuel subsidy, and ayuda, mukhang hindi pa po natutupad. Pagtitibayan po natin ang value chain from the farmers to consumers. Ito hindi pa po nangyayari, mga kababayan. Ang nangyayari po ngayon, smuggling pa rin. Ay, talaga naman, hoarding. Kanya bata sa presyo ng mga bilihin, hindi po natitignan ng mabuti ang food chain, yung value chain, tinatawag ko, mga babayan, mula sa mga farmers papunta sa mga consumers, na i-stack up po ang mga supplies dito po sa mga traders. Ito po ang problema na kinakaharap ng ating bansa sa ngayon. Sa kanya nga po, mga kababayan, kamakailan nag-issue ng order ang ating Pangulo sa NBI Department of Justice, no? Paigtingin, no? Habulin, no? Habulin ang mga smuggler sapagkat yan ang pumapatay sa ating ekonomiya. We will find out kung ano po ang mangyayari po dito sa marching order ng ating Pangulo laban sa mga smugglers. Sandali lamang po. Meron mo tayo mga tatanggaping reports. Hindi lamang po kami ang inyong madidinig dito sa ating studio sa Manila. Ho, mga kababayan, madidinig din po ninyo ang mga kasamaan po natin sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansang Pilipinas sa pamagitan po yung 13 istasyon ng Radyo Pilipino spread out throughout the Philippines. Isa na po dito ang DZLT Lucena. May report ang ating kasamang Tony Sandoval. Quezon Province, isinailalim sa signal number 1. PDRRMO, nakahanda na. Tony, magandang hapon. Ibahagi mo na.
Maraming salamat. Magandang hapon. Kabahaging tatabayin. Itinaas na sa tropical cyclone signal number 1 ng buong dalawigan ng Quezon batay sa latest update ng pag-asa kaninang alas 11 ng tanghali. Huling namataan ng sentro ng bagyong Siega sa layong 525 kilometers ng silangan ng Baler, Aurora at may maximum sustained winds na aabot sa 150 kilometers per hour malapit sa gitna at pagbugso na aabot sa 185 kilometers per hour at central pressure na aabot naman sa 960. Samantala, mabagal naman ito kumikilos pa sa Loran. Kaugnay nito ay nagpulong na kanina ang Quezon Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council bilang paghanda sa posibleng epekto ng Typhoon Egay sa lalawigan ng Quezon. Tiniyak naman ng mga tanggapan sa pamahalang lalawigan, LGU sa DRRMO sa pamumuno ni Chief Dr. Melchor Abinilla ang kanilang kahandaan na sakaling dumakas pa ang bagyo. Nananawagan din ng PDRRMO sa mga naninirahan sa malalapit na baybay dagat, mga landslide prone areas at mga binabaha na agaran lumikas. Kahit sa mga oras na ito, hindi pa naman nakakaranas ang lalawigan ng mga pag-ulan. Samantala, kabahaging tatamen sa mga oras na ito ay meron tayo nadaanan ng mga ilang bahay na merong mga ilan-ilan na nanonood na. Nakatutok ko sa isasagawang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. At kung itatanong mo naman kung meron ba mga sumama dito na mga jeepney driver sa isasagawang transport strike, wala sa bahaging tataben sapagkat itong PEDUDAP mas masaklaw dito sa buong Calabarzon sa pangunguna na kanilang Pangulo na si Ginoong Freddy Bravo ay nag-anunsyo na hindi sila sasama dito sa nationwide transport strike na ito, kabahaging tataben. At meron tayo dito nakatabing isang matandang lalaki nakakapanayamin hindi naman dito sa ikalawang zona ni Pangulong BBM. Ano ho ba ang inyong masasabi dito at anong inaasahan nyo na magiging laman ng State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. mamaya lamang?
Alam nyo, ako ay kinag-kitend na nga. Ako si Mando Papastillas, taga rito sa lungsod ng Lucena. Ano nga yung tanong mo tungkol sa Ona? Ay, paniniwala naman ako na kung ano ang magiging pahayag ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa kanyang Ona mamaya, patapos naman niya yun. Siguro, yung pangako na pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas na talaga ko palabo sa pero sa tulad ko, hindi naman ako magsitay sa pagkat naniniwala ako. May kakayahan ang Pangulo na mapababa yan basta pagtutulong ang labang ng mga pagsasaka at yung mga iba't ibang mga sektor ng lipunan.
Maraming salamat po Tatang sa inyong ginawang kasagunan dito sa aking naging katanungan, hindi nga dito sa zona na isasagaw mamaya ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. So, kabahaging tataben mula dito sa DCL de Lucena, si Tony Sandoval para sa Tayo Pilipino Zona 2023. Sa Armang Panig ng Mundo, kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino.
Tayo'y Pilipino. Sona 2023.
Maraming salamat, Tony Sandoval, sa report para sa ating SONA 2023 ng Pangulong Marcos. Hindi pa po malilimutan ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino ang pangako ng Pangulong Marcos sa kanyang unang SONA, 20 pesos per kilo of rice. Palagay ko hindi na po mangyayari ito, mga kababayan. Kahit yung 25 pesos per kilo na ipinarada ho sa Kadiwa dito po sa Quezon City, baka hindi na po maulit po yun. Kasi wala nang supply. But ito po ang aabangan ho natin sa SONA ng ating Pangulong Marcos today. In just about how many minutes more? Mga 40 minutes pa po, mga kababayan at mga kabahagi, ay madidinig na po natin ang boses ng ating Pangulong Marcos sa kanyang SONA. At malalaman po natin kung ano ang nasa ulo po niya ngayon. Of course, in paper na ho yan. Babasahin na lamang po niya ang kanyang SONA. Pero ayon po dito sa aming production staff ho, mga kababayan, ang Pangulong Marcos lang naman daw ho ang gumawa ng kanyang SONA ngayon. And nobody nakialam sa kanyang sasabihin sa kanyang SONA. So we will find out ho, mga kababayan, what is in the mind of the President. Ano po ang kanyang battle plan, ano ang kanyang roadmap kung meron man po, at ano ang kanyang marching orders. Importante po ito, mga kababayan. Marching orders to his cabinet, in preparation sa kanyang ikalawang taon bilang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Magbabalik po muna ang ating SONA 2023 pagkatapos po ng ilang mga paalala. Sandali lang ho.
Ben Paipon sa Pulsong Pinoy. Radyo Pilipino.
Ngayong tag-ulan, iwasan ang nakamamatay na sakit na dengue sa pamamagitan ng Search and Destroy.
Panatilihing malinis ang kapaligiran, sirain ang pinamumugaran ng mga lamok at kitikiti.
Self-protection measures.
Ugaliing magsuot ng mga damit na poprotekta sa mga kagat ng lamok.
Seek early consultation.
Kung may lagnat ng 2 araw, agad na kumonsulta sa pinakamalapit na health facility.
Say no to indiscriminate fogging.
Makipagtulungan sa lokal na pamahalaan sa kanilang fogging activities.
Mag-4S laban sa dengue.
Isang mensahe mula sa DOH at sa kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino.
Nagbabalik si Ben Paipon sa Pulsong Pinoy.
Alright, balik tayo mga kabahagi sa ating Pulsong Pinoy dito po sa Radyo Pilipino. Napapag-usapan po natin ang panunood po natin sa ikalawang SONA ng ating Pangulong Marcos. At inaabangan po natin kung ano po ang kanyang ang kanyang battle plan, ang kanyang roadmap kung meron man po, o kaya marching orders. Alam na po natin sa agrikultura po nung nakaraang taon, ang ipinangako po niya more supply. Kumbaga sa hindi na tayo kakapusin sapagkat ang gagawin ho natin ganito. Ayan yan ang Pangulong Marcos po nung unang SONA po niya. We will buy the fertilizer in bulk. Government to government to. Yan ang gustong mangyari po ng Pangulong Marcos noon. Pesticides and other agricultural production needs ng ating mga magsasaka. Yan ang tututukan ng Pangulong Marcos. Not only para mabigyan po ng mas magandang kabuhayan ng mga farmers ho natin. Pero para higit sa lahat ho, mga kababayan, mapanatili po natin ang sufficiency ng pagkain. Yan po ang gustong mangyari ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Kanyang binabanggit po niya itong mga gagawin po ng kanyang administrasyon. Alright, meron tayong situational report para sa ikalawang State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa bayan ng San Jose Occidental, Mindoro. Live report ito mula sa ating kasamang Loredy Navarro ng DZYM Mindoro. Loredy, magandang hapon. Ibahagi mo na. Alright, at tabayanan natin mga kabahagi. Alright. Loredy, please. Loredy, ulitin mo from the top. Okay. Please go ahead.
Hello po.
Yeah, go ahead, Loredy. Pasensya ka na. Hindi na pick up kaagad yung first part ng report mo. Please go ahead daw.
Malakas po kasi yung ulan, kaya pasensya na po.
Alright, okay. Maganda ka pa naman eh. Go ahead, Loredy.
Kasalukuyang andito po ako ngayon sa Barangay Pag-asa, San Jose Occidental, Mindoro, para makapag-interview po ilan sa ating mangmayang publiko bago magsimula ang ikalawang SONA o State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Sa mga oras ito, kabahagi nga din, narito na po ang aking makakausap o makaka-interview. Magandang araw, sir. Ako po si Loredy Navarro mula po sa Radyo Pilipino. Mayroon lang po akong katanungan bago magsimula po ang ikalawang SONA ngayon ni PBBM. At ano po muna ang inyong pangalan, sir?
Ako nga po pala si Marvin de la Fuente, taga-Pag-asa ng San Jose Occidental, Mindoro. Isang farmer dito sa Occidental, Mindoro.
Ano po ba ang una, ikalawa at pangatlong inaabangan at gusto mong marinig na sasabihin ni PBBM sa kanyang ikalawang SONA?
Siguro po para sa akin ay yung tumaas yung antas ng pamumuhay ng mga magsasaka dito sa Occidental Mindoro. Hindi na rin po dito, hindi lang dito sa Mindoro, pati na siguro sa buong Pilipinas. Pangalawa po, yung sana ay tumaas ang sahod ng mga kababayan natin, ng mga manggagawang Pilipino. Pangatlo po siguro yung K-12. Kasi po para po sa akin bilang isang magulang ay mahirap kasi matagal na nag-aaral yung mga anak namin. Tapos siguro alisin na po siguro yung K-12 para naman kami mga magulang ay maisan o mabuhasan yung aming problema. Yun lang po siguro at maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po. At kabahaging kabahaging Ben, yan po ang aking report mula dito po sa Bayan Mindoro. Ako si Loredy Navarro para sa Radyo Pilipino sa 2023 sa Mapagmundo, kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino.
Tayo'y Pilipino, SONA 2023.
Alright, thank you very much. Maraming salamat, Loredy Navarro. I was expecting sana si Loredy would ask Marvin Mendoza, farmer po ito kung ano po ang kanyang reaksyon dito po sa Emancipation Act na pinirmahan na po ng Pangulo. In other words, yung mga farmers po natin sa buong Pilipinas, libre na po sila sa kanilang mga utang kung meron man sa kanilang mga sakahan lupa. Kinondon na po ng Pangulong Marcos ang lahat ng utang ng mga magsasaka. After this, what? Ano kaya ang mangyayari? Anyway nasa linya na po natin ang ating special guest for this afternoon mga kabahagi. At makakausap po natin ng isang political analyst, constitutionalist, and senior research fellow ng Ateneo Policy Center. Mga inaasahang panayam sa ikalawang zona ng Pangulong Marcos. Kumbaga sa hopes and expectations for Marcos's zona 2023. Ayan, nasa linya na po natin, Attorney Michael Henry Yusinko. Attorney, magandang hapon at welcome back to the program po natin. Ito na po yung Pulsong Pinoy pero special edition, Zona ng Pangulong Marcos. Attorney, good afternoon, sir.
Magandang hapon, Kaben, at magandang hapon sa mga lahat ng nakikinig at nanonood sa atin ngayong araw na ito.
There should be much hope for the Filipino people today. Attorney, what do you think?
mahirap na.
Bakit naman?
Yung tanong ninyo, no? So, syempre, we'd like to be hopeful, no? Ganyan naman ang nature natin mga Pilipino. We're very optimistic about life. So, this shouldn't be any different, no? Na itong zona ng Pangulo, we are always hopeful na bibigyan niya tayo ng pag-asa rito at liwanag kung saan tutungo ang ating bayan, at the very least in this year, in the next year.
Mm-hmm. Attorney, I am also quite hopeful na merong magandang pagbabago. Kasi meron na tayong bagong Pilipinas di ba? Sana naman matuloy-tuloy talaga sa ikagaganda ng ating bansa. But I'm concerned about three factors po. Yung agricultural sector po natin, problema natin sa agrikultura, problema po natin sa infrastruktura. Marami na tayong nadidinig na mga balibalita na may LRT na tayo ng ganito, meron na pong ginagawang PNR and so forth. At dami pong mga infrastructure programs ng ating pamahalan po ngayon. And ang inaasahan ko pang babanggitin po siguro ng ating Pangulo ngayon, kumusta na po ang foreign investors po natin. Attorney Yusinko, Sir Michael, sa tingin po ninyo, ano ang sasabihin ng ating Pangulong Marcos sa ngayon tungkol sa agrikultura at food production dito po sa ating bansa?
Well, kung pagbabasihan natin yung mga statements niya, particularly regarding yung output ng meeting ng LEDAC, no, yung Legislative and Executive Advisory Council, hindi actually malinaw kung ano yung magiging action plan ng Pangulo natin with regards to food security.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi Kaben, I have to say na yung SONA kasi, this is an address intended for Congress, no? This is an address na ang audience dapat is yung mga mambabatas natin, no? At expected ang Pangulo magsabi dun sa mga mambabatas na yon, kaya nga ang SONA ay sa harap ng both chambers of Congress in joint session. Sasabihin ng Pangulo ano yung mga action agenda niya, no? Na kailangan ng legislative measures. In other words, kailangan ng enactments, no? So, kung pagbabasihan natin yung mga binibitawang salita ng Pangulo, ng Speaker at ng Senate President, mahirap makakuha ng isang malinaw na litrato, no, or a coherent picture na meron talagang action agenda, meron talagang battle plan, ika nga, with regards to food security, no. So that's my thoughts on food security in particular.
You mentioned the address to Congress, meaning the Senate and the House of Representatives. In his first SONA, attorney, he emphasized the need to pass 19 priority measures. I think this was supposed to be a way of saying this is my battle plan. This is our roadmap. But to date, attorney, it looks like only one of those 19 priority bills have been enacted into law, and that is the emancipation of farmers. Yun po ba sa Department of Agrarian Reform? Oh? Attorney, ano bang you mentioned about battle plan. Ano kayang sasabihin niya sa Kongreso?
That's right, no? Tama ka, Kabe, no? Na ang tendency kasi is talagang mag-offer lang ng isang isang mahabang checklist, no?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the president gave dun sa first SONA niya, no? Meron siyang checklist na gustong ipapasa sa Kongreso. Pero hindi sila konektado yung mga items ng list na yon, ano? Wala silang coherence, in other words, that can be read as a action agenda or a battle plan. Ganon din yung nangyari dito ngayon, yung LEDAC, yung listahan ng LEDAC. It's essentially a checklist, no, ng mga priority bills, no? So nandun yung ROTC, andun yung passport, andun yung e-government act, andun yung kung ano-ano pa, no? I think it's also 19 if I'm not mistaken. So ang problema nito, it looks like a checklist, no? Yung a to-do list rather than an action plan. So doon tayo medyo tagilid, Kaben, kasi kapag i-evaluate natin 'yon, ang tendency ng mga mambabatas natin is i-check lang nila 'yon, di ba? O napasa na namin 'to. Napasa na namin itong batas na 'to. Pero ang tanong, tumutugon ba siya doon sa problema ng bayan? Right? Kasi hindi natin alam kung responsive ba talaga yung mga batas na iyon doon sa mga problema na kinakaharap natin ngayon. And that's really one of the purpose of the State of the Nation, na ibabahagi ng Pangulo ano ba talaga yung estado ng bayan natin? Ano yung mga problema natin? And therefore, sasabihin niya, ito ang mga problema, ito yung mga solusyon ko. At least ito yung mga naiisip kong solusyon. At sasabihin niya sa Kongreso, kayo rin dapat may ibahagi dito sa solusyon na to, di ba? So, sinasabi niya sa Kongreso, sinasabi niya sa mga mambabatas, dapat magtrabaho rin kayo, dapat tulungan niyo ako sa pagtugon sa mga problemang to, sa pagpasa ng mga batas na kailangan na tumugon dun sa mga problemang yon. So, yun ang inadequacy na nakikita natin, no, na ang ino-offer lagi is a checklist, a to-do list, but not really an action agenda, not really a roadmap.
Nakalulungkot nga ho, attorney, sapagkat if I was looking at the 19 priority bills na iprinopose ng Pangulo sa Kongreso ng first zona niya, maganda po sana sapagkat nakakatugon ito sa mga yung mga pagbabago sa teknolohiya and so on and so forth, food production. Maganda rin po kanya nga lang ho. Kaya po nang nabanggit ho ninyo, hindi po yata nagkikita eye to eye itong dalawa the president gives a semblance of what he thinks should be done, but Congress is the other side of it. I mean, hindi po na naipapasa, hindi po na nahihimay mabuti. Anong gustong mangyari po ng ating presidente? Ang nangyayari ko, anong gusto ng mga kongresista? Pagkatapos pipirmahan na lamang po ng Pangulo, except for one priority bill, which is the Baharlika bill, attorney.
So, in that sense, tama kayo, Kaben, no, na may failing grade ang ating Pangulo at also Congress.
Both.
Yes,
attorney.
Both the executive branch and the legislative branch.
Correct.
No? So, dapat maunawaan ng mga nakikinig sa atin yan, no, na ang purpose talaga ng SONA, kaya talagang sinusubaybayan natin, is nagkakaroon tayo ng panghahawakan para ipakita natin or ipamukha natin sa mga political leaders natin, in particular, ang Presidente, ang Speaker at ang Senate President, na ito ang pinagkasunduan nila. No? Ito ang pinangako nila sa atin na gagawin nila at least for the next year. Right?
Alam mo,
based on their own determination kung ano dapat yung pupuntahan natin, no?
Opo.
Pero as it turns out, gaya ng pinakita nyo ngayon, hindi nila ito nagagawa. Right? Hindi nila natutupad. In other words, yung pangako nila sa atin.
Alam po ninyo, attorney, meron pong ipinag-utos ng Pangulong Marcos lately po ito, in response to the call for action mula sa Malacanang to stop smuggling. Inutusan po niya ang NBI, inutusan po niya ang DOJ to literally stop smuggling ho eh. Kasi ang sabi niya, it destroys our economy. Sa tingin po ninyo kaya, attorney, ito pong order na ito will be reflected doon sa kanyang zona bilang yung pagbibigay pag-asa sa ating mga mamayan. Ay, look, I'm addressing the problem in agrikultura natin. Mawawala na po ang smuggling from here on. Do you expect that to happen, attorney?
Probably Kaben, no? Kasi it's a hot button issue. Pero sa totoo lang, Kaben, kahit hindi niya banggitin yon, I wouldn't mind, no? Ang importante sa akin is kada linggo meron tayong update from the President on that issue, no? Hindi ko lang inaasahan na sasabihin niya yon sa isang okasyon lang like SONA. Ang pangulo natin kailangan natin siguro i-emphasize ito, Kaben. Ang pangulo natin ay dapat laging nag-uulat sa ating mamamayan, no?
Tama.
Hindi pang isang araw lang. Although ang SONA, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, kaya nga siya SONA, ang audience niya is yung joint session of Congress. And that only happens on a rare occasion, no? 2 beses lang nangyayari yung joint session. Kaya this is a special event. Pero yung akto ng pag-ulat ng Pangulo sa taong bayan, that should happen on a regular basis, no? So yung sinasabi ninyo na problema natin sa smuggling, I expect the President to report on that to the public on a regular basis. Kung hindi linggo-linggo, siguro kada buwan, dapat bigyan niya tayo ng update kung ano na ang progress ng NBI, ng PNP sa pugsa o sa paghuli doon sa mga smugglers na yon, no? This is not just about hindi lang ito pang SONA, in other words.
Yes.
This is supposed to be reported to us on a regular basis.
As a matter of performance.
That's correct. That's correct, Kaben.
Ang problema nga kasi, attorney, wala man lang tayo nadinig na mula sa Malacanang, neither from the Department of Justice or the NBI, kung ano po yung nagawa nila sa utos po ng ating Pangulo Marcos.
That's right. So kailangan silang kalugin sa kanilang mga opisina para magbigay sila ng update sa atin.
Attorney, I still would like to ask, wala po ba talaga kayong inaasahan na magiging focus ng SONA ng Pangulo ngayon?
Actually, that's the problem, Kaben, na ang SONA will be a hodgepodge of many issues. Wala siyang focus, no? Yun ang problema. Yung SONA, ang tendency talaga ng mga pangulo dyan is maglagay ng kung ano-ano, no? Just to satisfy yung clamors of each and every sector of society. And I think that's wrong, no? Kasi kailangan talaga meron siyang tema, may focus.
Correct.
So, sana, kung ako masusunod, pero malamang hindi, sana yung focus, food security. Kasi gaya nung sinabi nung na-interview kanina, yung magsasaka,
Apo.
apektado ang kanyang kabuhayan
Mhm.
No? So yung food security is one issue, one broad issue that encompasses many other issues like agriculture, climate change,
Correct.
the economy, labor. So sana isa lang yung tema, which is food security.
Mhm.
At doon magfo-focus yung SONA at bibigyan ng Pangulo ng directive ang mga mambabatas natin kung ano ang tulong na kailangan niya para matugunan itong malaking problema na ito.
Okay. Attorney, I think the President has arrived in Congress already and nasa loob na po siya. Nasa loob na in just a little while. Madidinig na po natin kung ano po ang kanyang focus, anong target po niya, anong battle plan, anong roadmap. So we will just have to wait for him to talk already to the people and to Congress. Attorney, we thank you very much for your time, ha?
Maraming salamat din po.
Okay. Mga kabahagi, si Attorney Michael Henry Yusinko, ang ating pong naging katuwang sa pagtalakay po dito sa possible SONA message of the President today. Dumating na po ang helicopter ni PBBM, ni Pangulong Marcos sa Kongreso at nasa loob na po siya ng Kongreso. So in just a little while mga kababayan, madidinig na po natin kung ano po ang talagang focus ng administrasyon ngayon in the coming years of the presidency and up till 2028. Pero more importantly, paano kaya paano kaya tutugunan ng Pangulong Marcos ang present crisis dito po sa ating bansa, lalong-lalo na sa mga agricultural production natin. Ayan, tumataas po ang presyo ng mga bilihin. Hanggang kadiwa na lamang po ba tayo? Wala na po ba tayong ibang maisip na paraan para masugpo ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin agricultural? Kadiwa stores po ba ang solusyon dito? What? So ito mga kababayan, our people are really anxious to listen to the President. Sa tingin ko mga kababayan, nakatutok na po ang buong bansa sa magiging SONA ng ating Pangulong Marcos dito po sa kanyang SONA ngayon mga kababayan, because alam po nila napakahalaga po sa buhay ng bawat Pilipino kung ano ang gagawin ng ating Pangulong Marcos sa kabila ng mga problema na kinakaharap po ng ating bansa sa ngayon. So, antabayanan natin yan mga kababayan, sapagkat in just a little while ay mapapakinggan na po natin ang talumpati ng ating Pangulong Marcos before Congress. Joint session po ito ng Kongreso. I think the President is already inside, pero wala pa po mismo doon sa session hall. Kausap pa lamang niya yung mga sumalubong po sa kanya. Nandun po si Mig Subiri, Senate President, at ganoon din po si Martin Romualdez po, the Speaker of the House. Alright, mga kabahagi, antabayanan po natin ang SONA ng ating Pangulong Marcos. There are other issues here na nabanggit po ng Pangulong Marcos during his first SONA We have to accept the fact also na yung iba naman po nagawa. Katulad po ng, pero ito gagawin pa lamang ho. Katulad po ng pagtatayo ho ng mga medical centers with specialties, like sa kidney, sa hearts. Hindi lamang po dito sa Metro Manila. Magkakaroon na po yata ng mga medical centers, medical facilities dyan po sa Clark, sa susunod na mga taon, mga kabayan. And this is a warm welcome na ginawa po ng ating Pangulo o gagawin po ng ating Pangulo, lalong-lalo na po sa kalusugan ng bawat mamamayan. Ang ating Pangulong Marcos po ay sinalubong po nila Speaker Romualdez at Senate President Miguel Zubiri. Hindi muna dumiretso sa session hall ang Pangulo. Dumaan muna siya sa holding area. He is on hold. Hindi ho. Normal naman na procedure po yun, mga kabayan, for any SONA that is going to be delivered by any sitting president po. Meron po tinatawag na holding area dyan po sa Kongreso. At dyan muna para makausap po ng Pangulo ang ibang mga opisyalis ng both houses po. Ayan. Wala po ba ninyo mga kababayan kung kanino ho ang pinakamahabang SONA sa buong Pilipinas ho? Simula ng magkaroon po ng SONA-SONA ang mga Pangulo, ang mga halal na Pangulo ng ating bansa ho. Ang naitala ho na pinakamahabang SONA ay nangyari po nung panahon ni Mr. Marcos Sr. Ito po nagkaroon po nabilang po recorded, ito po 29,000 words ang inubos po ng Pangulong Marcos sa kanyang longest SONA ever sa Pilipinas. This was in 1969, kasagsagan po ng martial law. Ang pinakamaikli ho, mga kabahagi, panahon po ni Madam Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, na ngayon po ay member of the House of Representatives. She delivered the shortest with 1,556 words, or about 50 minutes only. Yan po ang maikling talumpati na ginawa po dyan sa Kongreso sa pamagitan po ni Pangulong Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Ayan. It's nice to go back to this historical figures po, mga kababayan. And alam po ninyo, 15 Philippine presidents delivered the SONAs from Quezon to in 1935. Hanggang kay President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The first president, Emilio Aguinaldo, did not deliver a SONA. The same went for Jose P. Laurel, who served as president during World War II from 1943 to 1945. The times when the president didn't deliver a SONA were during the Japanese occupation from 1943 to 1944 and in 1986 after the EDSA Revolution. Pero si Pangulong Cory Aquino, after the EDSA Revolution and after he was proclaimed president, delivered his message sa Malacanang mismo. This was made possible in June 4, 1986. Yan po ang history po natin as far as the SONA is concerned of the president. All right, mga kababayan, I expect that the president will get to the session hall ng Kongreso, House of Representatives, in a matter of minutes na lamang po, mga kababayan, sapagkat sa oras po natin, meron pa tayong 8 minutes na lamang po bago mag-alas 4. And we know for a fact that every SONA is delivered at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or thereabouts. So, alas 4 po ng hapon. So, the President is still in the holding area. Kausap po niya yung mga ibang mga matataas o piling-piling mga miyembro ng Kongreso, meaning Congress, House of Representatives, and ang Philippine Senate po. Meron din pong mga pangyayari sa labas ng Kongreso. But this is a controlled protest to, mga kababayan. Hindi naman po ipinakikita po ng ating mga media outlets ho, mga kababayan, but ongoing din po ang protesta ng mga jeepney drivers under the manibela. At ganun din po iba't ibang organizations ang nagrarally po ngayon at magkakaroon din po sila ng separate zona. Siguro in a matter of minutes din po, kalinsabay po ng talumpati ng Pangulong Marcos dyan sa Kongreso. So at tabayanan po natin ang mga events na ito, mga kababayan. There is an ongoing protest rally ng ating mga kababayan. Meron pong mga nagproprotesta dahil sa maliit na sahod. Gusto nilang malaki po ang sahod, lalong-lalo na yung mga teachers po natin, at ganun din po ang mga healthcare workers po. So there are so many things that, ang ating Pangulong Marcos will have to listen to. Kinakailangan mapakinggan din po niya ito. Pagpapasalamat naman po tayo, mga kababayan, sapagkat even our police, Philippine National Police, ay pinapayagan naman po ito mga protest rallies na ito sa kabila ng siyempre yung ibang the other side of the coin ang maririnig po ng sambayan ng Pilipino. I think this is a healthy sign naman mga kababayan, sapagkat sa isang democratic country, kinakailangan maging maliwanag po all sides of the issues. All sides maging maliwanag po para sa bawat citizen. In our particular case, Filipino citizens. Okay? So, ang tabayanan na po natin mga kababayan, ang magiging sona ng ating Pangulo. I think the President is already moving inside. Let me see. Ayan, papasok na po ang ating Pangulo sa loob po ng Kongreso. I think this is it, mga kababayan. Handa-handa na po kayo sapagkat magsisimula na po ang sona ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Ito po ay inaabangan-abangan ng bawat Filipino po sa ngayon. They would like to their expectations to fulfillment mga kababayan. Kanya gusto nilang marinig mula mismo sa talumpati ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Ano po ang kanilang mga aasahan sa susunod na mga taon ng panunungkulan ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Naglalakad na po ang Pangulo papunta sa loob mismo ng session hall ng Kongreso. Ayan, he is being escorted siyempre po by top officials of Congress. Kumakaway po ang ating Pangulong Marcos. From the holding area, mula sa holding area, ay papunta na po siya sa session hall. It will be remembered, mga kababayan, that ang Kongreso is on a lockdown ngayon, security-wise. Alright, tumigil pansamantala ang Pangulo. Maybe inaantay po niya yung signal na manggagaling po sa loob for him to enter the session hall kumakaway na po ang ating Pangulong Marcos sa Kongreso. He's already inside Kongreso, mga kababayan. Okay? So, I think it's about time that we listen to nakikipagkamay po ang ating Pangulong Marcos sa mga opisyalis po ng both houses, Congress. Ang gagagara ng kanilang mga kasuutan. Filipiniana po. Mga lawmakers po natin, mga kongresista at mga senador nakabarong, siyempre. At yung mga kongresista po natin, kababaihan, naka-Filipiniana. Alright, mga Dave, engineer, let us already have the hookup para at least maging mapasimulan na po ang zona proper ng ating Pangulo Marcos. Nasa loob na po siya. Nasa loob na po siya ng ating Kongreso. Nakikipagbeso-beso pa sa mga kongresista ho natin. Paakyat na po siya sa rostrum. Where the leaders of our country are. Nandyan po yung mga matataas na opisyalis po ng both houses of Congress. Yun. Nasa taas na po siya, mga kababayan. And he's now he has taken his seat, flanked by the Speaker of the House, si Speaker Martin Romualdez, at siyempre po sa kanya si Senate President has banged the gavel already, and so with the Speaker of the House, the joint session of Congress is now open, mga kababayan. Open na po ang sesyon ng both Congress at magsisimula na rin po ang national anthem.
Ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay, lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng luwalhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may manghahapi, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the nation's prayer.
Kindly bow your heads in prayer. O Diyos na makapangyarihan, manlilikha, tagapagbigay buhay at tagapagligtas. Salamat po sa inyong paggabay sa buong sandaigdigan, lalo na sa pagkalinga sa sangkatauhan mula sa dumating na pandemya. Maraming salamat sa mga pagbibiyayang patuloy ninyong ibinibigay sa aming minamahal na bayang Pilipinas.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma barik lana hada al-ijtima' sa pagtitipong ito, kasihan niyo po kami ng inyong banal na diwa at liwanag upang ang gawin ito ay magbunga ng ginhawa at kasiyahan sa pang-araw-araw na gawin ito, araw-araw na buhay na sambayanan. Salamat po sa muling pagsigla ng aming ekonomiya sa pag-unlad ng agrikultura at turismo, pag-inam ng education at pagkalahatan pang-agat ng ibang sektor ng serbisyo, production at pangangalakal na nagbibigay sa amin ng pagkain at kabuhayan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Salamat po sa matibay na bigkis ng aming pamilya at lipunan. Nakalakip ng kaloob niyong matibay na pananampalataya sa inyo at ang aming pananalig sa pamahalaan ay sama-samang bumuo ng aming matibay na pundasyon bilang isang bayan. Ang pamilya, pamahalaan at pananalig namin sa inyo, Ama, ang siya rin naming sandigan, kanlungan at bukal ng lakas sa pagharap at pananagumpay sa maraming hamon ng buhay.
Salamat po sa pag-iral ng kapayapaan at kaayusan sa gitna at sa kabila ng iba't ibang pananaw, sa marubdob at masiglang diskurso ng aming demokrasya. Tulungan niyo po kami upang makamit ang mas malalim, matibay, malawak na kapayapaan sa ikabubuti ng lahat. Akayin niyo po kami sa pagpapaunlad panglalo ng ekonomiya upang makarating ang mas maraming biyaya sa bawat tahanang Pilipino. Kalakip nito, bigyan niyo rin po kami ng dunong at pagkakaisa sa pagharap at pangangasiwa ng hamon ng climate change.
Maghari po kayo ng ganap ang inyong banal na diwa sa puso at isip ng aming mga mamamayan at mga pinuno, mga mambabatas, na mamahala at mga hukom, 10 ng kanilang mga tauhan, upang ang buong katapatan, ang paglilingkod nila at kagandahang loob na manguna sila at maglingkod tungo sa mapayapa, makatarungan, maayos, maunlad, masagana at masayang pamumuhay ng buong sambayanan.
Itinatalaga po namin ang gawain ito sa inyo pong mabunyi at dakilang pangalan.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of Congress of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Allow me to greet Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte, the former presidents, our former presidents, President Joseph Ejercito Estrada and President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, and the honorable members of the Senate, House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, and the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice Alexander Gismundo, and the Honorable Justices of the Supreme Court, His Excellency, Most Reverend Charles John Brown, and the esteemed members of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin and the members of the Cabinet, First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos, former First Lady Imelda Romualdez Marcos, other distinguished guests, mga minamahal kong kababayan, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. 1 year ago today, I stood here before you, setting forth the plans that we have to improve our economy, bring jobs to our people, improve the ease of doing business, recalibrate our educational system to adapt to the new economy, lower and rationalize energy costs, boost agricultural production, enhance healthcare, and continue social programs for the poor and the vulnerable. Let me now report to the people on the successes that we can now lay claim to, and also the challenges that we continue to face. Last year, we emphasized certain strong headwinds that were confronting us along with the rest of the world in our post-pandemic economic recovery. And the biggest problem that we encountered was inflation. Maraming kaganapan sa mundo ang nakapagpagulos sa maayos na takbo ng pandaigdigang merkado. Bukod sa digmaan sa Ukraine, naroon ang patuloy na epekto ng pandemya. Pinalala pa ito ng pagbabawas ng produksyon ng mga bansang pinagkukuhanan natin ng langis. Nang tumaas ang presyo nito, nagsunura na rin ang presyo ng iba't ibang bilihin, ang gasolina, ang kuryente at ang pagkain. Ramdam sa buong daigdig, pati na sa Pilipinas, ang naging pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin noong mga nakalipas na buwan. Sinuri nating mabuti ang sitwasyon. Sa tulong ng ating mga ekonomista, nakapagbalangkas tayo ng mga polisiya na magsisilbing pundasyon ng ating ekonomiya sa mga susunod na taon. Ito ay nakasaad sa ating medium-term fiscal framework na sinuportahan ninyo sa Kongreso. Kasabay nito ang paglulunsad ng mga estratehiya na mapalakas sa kakayahan ang ating mga kababayan at mga sektor ng ating ekonomiya. Nakakita po tayo ng magagandang resulta. While the global prospects were bleak, our economy posted a 7.6% growth in 2022, our highest growth rate in 46 years. For the first quarter of this year, our growth has registered at 6.4%. It remains within our target of 6 to 7% for 2023. We are still considered to be amongst the fastest growing economies in the Asian region and in the world. It is a testament to our strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Our financial system, the nerve center of our economy, remains strong and stable. Banks, the transmission arms of our monetary policy, have strong capital and liquidity positions. Stimulated by the relaxation of pandemic restrictions, transactions once again have flourished alongside the booming e-commerce that was undeterred by the pandemic in 2022. The digital economy contributed 2 trillion pesos, the equivalent of 9.4% of our GDP. The economy is revived and rejuvenated, backstopped by a favorable enabling environment and the strong rule of law. This year, the World Bank projects a 6% overall growth rate, well within the range of our targets for the year. It is anchored on strong local demand, underpinned by consumer spending, and draws strength from the BPO industry and, of course, the steady flow of remittances and the continuing jobs recovery. Inflation rate is moving in the right direction. From 8.7% in January, our inflation has continued to ease up in all regions, settling now at 5.4% for June. What this means is that in spite of all the difficulties, we are transforming the economy. we are stabilizing the prices of all critical commodities. According to the Bangko Sentral, inflation is expected to ease further by the close of the year and projected at 2.9% by 2024. On matters of the economy, there are many things over which we have no control. But over those where we do have control, we are doing everything we can. Puspusan ang ating ginagawa upang pataasin ang produksyon ng ating ekonomiya. Pinapalago natin ang mga industriya, dinadagdagan natin ang mga infrastruktura upang mas mapabilis ang daloy ng mga produkto at ng serbisyo. Higit sa lahat, pinapalakas natin ang kakayahan ng mga mamamayan upang mapaganda nila ang kanilang pamumuhay. Ito ang punot dulo ng ating Philippine Development Plan. Investments in public infrastructure and in the capacity of our people through food, education, health, jobs, and social protection remain our top priority. For this year, economic and social services were allocated almost 70% of the national budget. Higher revenue collections will be critical in our bid to bolster public investments. Under our fiscal framework, we envision our tax and revenue efforts to further increase to up to 16.9% and 17.3% by 2028. Revenue generation has improved this year. From January to May, the Bureau of Internal Revenue has posted record collections amounting to 1.05 trillion pesos, an increase of almost 10% over the last year. For its part, the Bureau of Customs has also increased its collection by 7.4% for the first 7 months of 2023, amounting to 476 billion pesos. Since July 2022, we have seen increased revenues from PAGCOR of 47.9% and from the PCSO of 20%. We therefore seek, once again, the continued support of Congress to enact into law the policies and reforms under our fiscal framework. Sa mga nakalipas na buwan, nakita natin ang pagbaba ng presyo ng bilihin sa iba't ibang mga sektor. Napatunayan natin na kayang maipababa ang presyo ng bigas, karne, isda, gulay at asukal. Malaking tulong ang Kadiwa Stores na ating muling binuhay at inilunsad. Ang layunin ng Kadiwa ay pag-ugnayin ang mga magsasaka at ang mga mamimili. Walang iba pang namamagitan. Wala nang dagdag, dagastos at patong. Maganda ang kita ng magsasaka, nakakatipid din ang mga mamimili. Sa mahigit 7,000 kadiwa na idinaos sa buong Pilipinas, 1.8 million na pamilya ang nakinabang sa mababang presyo ng bilihin. Sa kabuuan, halos 700 milyong piso ang naging benta ng mga ito na nakapagbigay ng hanap buhay sa mga membro ng mahigit 3,000 na kooperatiba at samahan. Maganda ang nakita nating resulta, kaya papalawigin pa natin ang Kadiwa sa buong bansa. Kamakailan lamang ay nagsanib puwersa na ang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan upang lalo pang patibayin ang Kadiwa. Katuwang natin dito ang buong sektor ng agrikultura at ang lokal na pamahalaan. Our aim is to boost our local agricultural production through consolidation, modernization, mechanization, and improvement of value chains, augmented by timely and calibrated importation as needed. Nakita nating tumaas ng 2.2% ang sektor ng agrikultura sa unang 3 buwan ng taong ito. In our quest for food security, our methods are now more guided by science and the balance of nature, so that production is both sustainable and responsible, benefiting both this and future generations. Our fisheries codes must be revised to incorporate and strengthen science-based analysis and determination of fishing areas. This approach will protect both the interests of our fisherfolk and our fisheries and aquatic resources. To this end, We will seek the support of Congress to amend the code to guarantee sustainable development of our fisheries sector in harmony with environmental balance. Ipinagbubuklod natin ang mga magsasaka sa pamamagitan ng farm and fisheries clustering at mga livestock multiplier farms. 300 cluster na ang ating natukoy na binubuo ng halos 900 kooperatiba at may lawak na mahigit na 200,000 hektarya ng bukirin. Upang mas mapabilis at mas mapadali ang pagbuo ng kooperatiba, kakailanganin natin ang suporta ng Kongreso na maamyendahan ang Cooperative Code. Sa pamamagitan nito, unti-unting lalakas ang kanilang produksyon at puwersa sa merkado. Totoo ang kasabihan, mas malapas basta't sama-sama. Pinapalawak natin ang kanilang kaalaman sa makabagong mga teknolohiya at pamamaraan. Isa na rito ang paggamit ng biofertilizer na gawa sa Pilipinas at subok din at maaasahan. Sa balanced fertilizer strategy, gaganda ang ani ng mga magsasaka. Hindi na nila kailangan pang umasa sa mas mahal at imported na fertilizer. Bilang tulong sa mga magsasaka, namigay ang pamahalaan ng mahigit 28,000 mga makabagong makinarya at mga kagamitan sa iba't ibang dako ng Pilipinas. Sa ilalim ng iba't ibang mga programa ng kagawaran ng agrikultura, namigay ang pamahalaan ng mahigit na 50 milyong binhi ng palay, mahigit 1 milyong binhi ng mais, at sari-saring mga binhi ng gulay. Nagpamigay tayo ng mahigit 100,000 binhi ng nyug at nagpatanim sa halos 10,000 hektarya ng lupa sa buong bansa. Lahat ng mga binhing ito ay makabago, hybrid at mataas ang kalidad. Sa naging pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina at pataba, nagdala ng kaunting ginhawa ang mga fuel at fertilizer discount vouchers na ating pinamigay sa mga nahihirapang magsasaka. Ang mga natanggap nating donasyon na pataba mula sa China, pinimigay na natin kaagad sa kanila. Isa sa mga dahilan ng pagtaas ng presyo ay ang mga smuggler, mga hoarder at mga nagmamanipula ng presyo ng produktong agrikultural. Hinahabol at ihaabla natin sila. Sadyang hindi tama ang kanilang gawain at hindi rin ito tugma sa ating magandang layunin. Pandaraya ang kanilang ginagawa. Napapahamak hindi lamang ang mga magsasaka, kundi tayo rin mga mamimili. Kaya hindi natin papayagan ang ganitong kalakaran. Bilang na ang mga araw ng mga smuggler at hoarder na yan. Mahalaga ang infrastruktura para masuportahan ang may 14 na milyong hektarya ng sakahan. Inayos natin ang geo-agri-map ng mga farm-to-market roads ng buong bansa upang maidugtong mabuti ang mga sakahan sa mga pamilihan. Alinsunod dito, karagdagang 600 kilometro ng mga FMR ang ating nilatag sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. Binigyan din natin ng patubig ang mahigit na 49,000 hektarya ng bukirin sa buong Pilipinas. Nagpagawa tayo ng halos 4,000 mga karagdagang fabrication lab, production at cold storage facility na magagamit ng lahat. Sa tulong ng Kongreso, nakapagpatayo tayo ng 24 na multi-species hatcheries upang maparami ang produksyon ng mga isda. Nakabantay tayo sa anumang banta ng mga sakit at peste na maaring dumapo sa mga pananim at alagang hayop. Malapit na tayong magkaroon ng mga epektibong gamot at bakuna labang sa mga ito. Samantala, pinapalakas natin ang biosecurity levels ng mga alagang hayop bilang panlaban sa sakit. Tayo rin ay naghahanda sa El Nino na nagbabadyang tumama sa mga darating na buwan. Nagsimula na tayong maghanda at ang mga buffer stock at ang mga kagamitang patubig ay hinahanda na. Kung kinakailangan, magsasagawa pa tayo ng cloud seeding upang makapagdala ng ulan. Kasabay ng lahat na ito, hinihimok din natin ang ating sambayanan na magtipid ng tubig para sa malawakang paghanda sa banta ng tagtuyot. Tulad ng ating ipinangako, ipinagpatuloy natin ang reformang pansakahan. Mahalagang haligi ito ng sektor ng agrikultura na ating inaayos. Nitong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 70,000 titulo ng lupa ang ginawad sa mga benepisyaryo ng reformang agraryo. Tamang-tama ang ating pagpapatigil ng mga bayarin ng mga benepisyaryo sa ilalim ng ating nilagdaan EO number 4. Isang taon mula nung aking unang SONA na isabatas na ang bagong Agrarian Emancipation Act. Dahil dito, ang 57 billion piso ng utang na pinapasan ng mahigit 600,000 benepisyaryo ay tuluyan ng nabura. Sa ngalan ng mga magsasakang ito at ang kanilang mga pamilya, maraming salamat muli sa ating mga mambabatas. Ang tubig ay kasing halaga rin ng pagkain. Kailangan natin tiyakin na may sapat at malinis na tubig para sa lahat at sa mga susunod na salinlahi. Kasama na rito ang tubig na ginagamit natin para sa sakahan. Considering its fundamental importance, water security deserves a special focus. Our efforts must not be scattershot, but rather cohesive, centralized, and systematic. So given that urgency, we have created the Water Resources Management Office to specifically handle the delicate job involving this most precious resource. Nakikipag-ugnayan tayo sa Kongreso upang maipasa ang batas para sa pagbuo ng isang Department of Water Resource Management. This year, we have allocated 14.6 billion pesos for water supply projects, which will benefit communities all over the country. Recently, the water supply of NCR and Rizal received a significant boost from the first phase of the Wawa Bulk Water Supply Project. The water supply will increase as the project enters the second phase. We have installed 6,000 rainwater collection systems across the country in preparation for the looming dry spell brought about by El Nino. One of the keys to continuing economic growth is infrastructure development. So we will build better and more. Our 8.3 trillion peso Build Better More program is currently in progress and being vigorously implemented. Ang buong bansa ay makikinabang sa 174 na proyekto sa ilalim ng programang ito. Hindi lamang natin pinapagpatuloy ang mga nasimulan ng mga proyekto, lalo pa natin pinapalawak. Kaya naman, ang 123 proyekto dito sa Build Better More program ay bago. The flagship projects cover investments in the areas of physical connectivity, water resources, agriculture, health, digital connectivity, and energy. Physical connectivity infrastructure, such as roads and bridges, seaports, airports, mass transport, account for 83% of this program. Our infrastructure spending will stay at 5 to 6% of our GDP. The underlying logic to our infrastructure development is economic efficiency. We are opening up all gateways to mobilize goods and services at less cost and in less time, and ultimately to drive the economy forward. Our road network plans must link not only our 3 major islands, but all prospective sites of economic development. The 1,200-kilometer Luzon Spine Expressway Networks program will effectively connect Ilocos to Bicol from 20 hours to just 9 hours of travel. Under the Mega Bridge program, 12 bridges totaling 90 kilometers will be constructed, connecting islands and areas separated by waters. The program notably includes the Bataan-Cavite Interlink Bridge and the Panay-Guimaras-Negros Island bridges, each spanning 32 kilometers, and also the Samal Island Davao City Connector Bridge. As of June this year, we have constructed, maintained, and upgraded more than 4,000 kilometers of roads and around 500 bridges across the country. Crucial airport and port development projects across the country have also been completed, including Cebu Pier's 88 Smart Port and the new passenger terminal buildings of Clark Airport and the Port of Calapan. We initiated several railway projects with a total length of more than 1,000 kilometers. Notably, the southern leg of the north-south commuter railway system is now in full swing. In a few years, travel from Pampanga to Laguna will be reduced from 4 hours to just 2. Intermodal connectivity will also be a primary consideration. Roads, bridges, and mass transport systems will be interconnected. This network will provide access and passage to vital and bustling economic markets, such as agriculture hubs, tourism sites, and key business districts. For strategic financing, some of the nation's high-priority projects can now look to the newly established Maharlika Investment Fund without the added debt burden. In pooling a small fraction of the considerable but underutilized government funds, the funds shall be used to make high-impact and profitable investments, such as the Build Better More program. The gains from the fund shall be reinvested into the country's economic well-being. To ensure sound financial management, a group of internationally recognized economic managers shall oversee the operations of the fund, guided by the principles of transparency and accountability. This guarantees that investment decisions will be based on financial considerations alone, absent any political influence. The funds for the social security and public health insurance of our people shall remain intact and separate. Owing to favorable market conditions, the price of crude oil has stabilized. Since last year, gasoline and diesel prices have gone down by 18% to 29% respectively. We have built 8 new additional power plants. This brings to 17 the total number of power generation facilities that have been switched on across the country since last year, substantially increasing our energy production by 1,174 megawatts. Alongside power generation, we are also as relentless in pursuing total electrification. Since my assumption into office, almost 500,000 homes have been given access to electricity. We will spare no effort to achieve full household electrification by the end of my term. 100% is within our reach. When it comes to energy, renewable energy is the way forward. We are aggressively promoting renewables so that it provides a 35% share in the power mix by 2030, and then on to 50% by 2040. To accelerate the realization of this green energy goal, we have opened renewable energy projects to foreign investments. Since last year, an additional 126 renewable energy contracts with a potential capacity of 31,000 megawatts have been awarded. To date, we have over 1,000 active projects spread all over the country. 299 of these are solar, 187 are wind, 436 are hydroelectric, 58 biomass, 36 geothermal, and 9 are ocean-powered. The Malampaya project has been a boon to our country, energizing 20% of Luzon. The renewal of the contract guarantees continued revenues and energy production for another 15 years. But aside from Malampaya, we will also push for more gas exploration in other parts of the country. The national government has also partnered with the BARM in regard to energy exploration and development, and also its utilization within its territorial jurisdiction. We therefore expect to see renewed investor interest in its promising sites. We finally have a unified national grid with the interconnection of the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao grids. The one grid, one market will enable more efficient transfers and more competitive pricing of electricity throughout the country. However, 68 grid connections are much delayed, according to the ERC's count. We are conducting a performance review of our private concessionaire, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. We look to NGCP to complete all of its deliverables, starting with the vital Mindanao, Visayas, and Cebu Negros Panay interconnections. Habang pinapabuti natin ang lagay ng ekonomiya, pinapalakas din natin ang kakayahan ng Pilipino. Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng mahalagang armas ng edukasyon, magandang kalusugan at trabaho. Malaking bahagi ng pondo ng pamahalaan ay inilaan para sa mga ito. Sa ating pagtahak sa kaunlaran, walang mamamayang Pilipino ang maiiwanan. Para sa atin, ang bawat buhay ay mahalaga. Ano man ang edad, kasarian, pangkat, relihiyon o pisikal na kondisyon, sila ay kukupkupin at tutulungan. Naglalaan tayo ng sapat na pondo para sa mga paglingap ng mga lubos na nangangailangan. Layunin natin na sila ay makabangon, mabigyan ng sapat ng kakayahan at maging produktibo. Hindi lamang DSWD, kundi pati ang DOLE, ang DepEd, TESDA, CHED ay tumutulong sa ating mga kababayan nangangailangan. Ang AIX, TUPAD, TVET for Social Equity, Social Pension for Indigent Senior Citizens, at ang Cash for Work para sa mga PWDs ay ilan lamang sa mga mahahalagang programa ng pamahalaan para sa kanila. Nariyan din ang Integrated Livelihood Program Kabuhayan upang matulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyo. We are inclusive in our pursuit of social protection. The pension of the military and the uniformed personnel is as important, as urgent, and as humanitarian as that of all other civilian Filipino employees. Efforts are underway to make it fully functional and financially sustainable. We are once again working closely with Congress to ease the transition from the old system to the new one, so as to be able to guarantee that no effects are felt by those in the uniformed services. Nagsisimula ang lahat sa edukasyon. Ito ay para palakasin ang isip at kakayahan ng bawat Pilipino. Ang ating butihing Vice Presidente na kalihim din ng kagawaran ng edukasyon ay tumutulong upang tiyakin na ang bawat batang Pilipino ay mabibigyan ng nararapat at kalidad na edukasyon. We have renewed hope in giving the best to our next batches of students, especially the 28.4 million learners who return to school this year. Learning recovery will be at the forefront of our education agenda. The Matatag Agenda for Basic Education has been launched, focusing on relevance of curriculum, rapid and responsive delivery, and the welfare of both learners and teachers. We are augmenting as well our school workforce. 90% of the newly created teaching positions have now been filled, while additional administrative personnel have been hired to unburden the teachers of any extra load. Taking to heart the lessons of the pandemic, alternative delivery modes and blended learning methodologies have been adopted to ensure unhampered learning. Additional social safety nets, such as school-based feeding programs, are also being implemented. Learners will be made more resilient. Our public schools and facilities are being increased and fortified. The shortage of classrooms and facilities is being addressed. Aside from new construction, schools and facilities are being retrofitted to become ready for the future, ready for hybrid and high-tech learning, and also climate-ready and disaster-proof. Through the DepEd Partnership Assistance Portal, private sector partners continue their assistance in the rehabilitation and improvement of schools as part of their corporate social responsibility programs. We are recalibrating the K-10 curriculum to ensure that it is always relevant, responsive, and at par with international standards. Literacy and numeracy skills need to be strengthened. The virtue of good citizenship and sense of community are also now integrated into our curriculum. We continue to exhaust all efforts to keep our young people away from the sinister influences in the dark corners of society. We are making available to them their participation in formal schooling, alternative learning, non-diploma courses, or in technical vocational education and training, or TVET. TVET continues to prove itself to be an empowering educational intervention. There are many examples of how its graduates have gone on to secure competitive technical jobs. Since last year, more than 1 million Filipinos graduated from the TVET, one-third of whom were TESDA scholars. More and more of our higher education institutions have reached world-class status. This year, 52 Philippine HEIs have been included in the World Universities rankings compared to just 15 last year. We will not let a student's financial constraints be an hindrance to his or her education. We have activated social safety nets, such as skills development training and youth employment programs. Tertiary education in state universities and colleges will remain free for our qualified students. Last year, out of the 4.1 million enrolled college students, almost 50% were beneficiaries of the country's free higher education under the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education program. Deserving and talented students without the financial capacity to attend school will not be left behind in this education agenda. A culture of innovation, working hand in glove with a culture of entrepreneurship, must be fostered. This is Philippinovation. Science and technology, especially R&D, will be at its foundation. The DOST leads the development of our capabilities in science, technology, and innovation. Science and technology-related scholarships are made available for the talented and technically gifted students from high school all the way to graduate school. To address the challenge of staying at the cutting edge of technology, 44 renowned Filipino scientists in diverse areas of expertise have returned home under the Balik Scientist program. They will undertake research in various priority fields and will be supported by upgraded facilities and R&D funding. The Philippines has launched 2 additional satellites into space. Together with the first satellite, they will track weather, predict storms, evaluate soil and water supplies, analyze shifts in population, and be used for traffic management, geohazard mapping, risk assessment, and even including security and defense. Science, technology, and innovation will drive the quality and competitiveness of our workforce, as well as our manufacturing, export, creative, and service industries, in existing markets and in new ones waiting to be explored. The bane of the mismatch between jobs and skills among our workforce is being rectified through strengthened government, industry, labor, academic partnerships, and the continuous reskilling and upskilling training programs that we have put before our workforce. For our seafarers to continue to excel, maritime education in the Philippines has been strengthened. This will progress and solidify our country's position as a global maritime hub through the steady supply of competent Filipino seafarers to foreign merchant marine vessels. The question about the European Union's recognition of the standards of training of Filipino seafarers has, after 17 years, finally been resolved. This development now effectively maintains the Filipino seafarers' distinct competitive advantage in the global shipping labor market. To address the current shortage of healthcare professionals in our country and to help us achieve our goal of universal healthcare, we are greatly expanding our medical and nursing education programs. We will push the envelope even further. We are helping nursing graduates hurdle their board exams so that they will obtain their licenses and join our pool of healthcare professionals. Ang kalusugan ang ikalawang armas para sa lakas ng pangangatawan ng bawat Pilipino. Isinusulong natin muli ang kalusugan ng Pilipino. We are now refocusing our health priorities, applying the lessons learned from the pandemic and addressing the weaknesses that it has exposed. Healthier communities and lifestyles are our advocacy. We have launched convergent programs to address hunger and nutrition-related issues amongst our people, especially the children, like stunting and wasting. Last week, we introduced the pilot food stamp program, which seeks to supply the nutrition needs of the million most food-poor Filipinos. The FSP shall complement our nutrition continuity programs, such as the First 1,000 Days program, which ensures nourishment for the first 3 years of a child's life. The supplemental feeding program is for our children attending daycare centers. The K-6 program will feed kindergarten to grade 6 public school students who are suffering from wasting and severe malnutrition. We are catching up on the routine vaccinations of our children. As of this year, more than 80% of our eligible children have been vaccinated against measles, rubella, and polio. Nananawagan ako sa lahat ng mga magulang na kumplituhin ang mga bakuna ng kanilang mga anak at magtungo sa pinakamalapit na health center para sa mga libreng bakuna. The whole of society must exert efforts to suppress the alarming rise of tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS. To stem the tide, the strategic plan is to ensure early diagnosis and treatment and ample testing sites and medications. Our healthcare system is undergoing structural changes. Public health facilities are being increased, both in number and in capability. Last year, more than 3,400 projects were completed. To improve capacity for specialized medical treatment, specialty centers in various fields are being established and integrated into our government hospitals. And in the last year, additional 60 specialty centers have been opened to the public. Just last week, we inspected the site of what will soon be a 5-hectare multi-specialty center in Pampanga, which will specialize in pediatrics, cardiology, kidney, and cancer treatment. We are working for a more direct, efficient delivery of services through integrated primary care providers and networks in partnerships with the LGUs and our partners in the private sector. These shall, of course, be supported by what is now a better and more efficient PhilHealth. Ang presyo ng mga mahalaga at pangunahing gamot ay bumaba ng humigit kumulang ng 40%. Mayroon ding iba na bumaba na hanggang 70%. Aside from the maximum retail price regulation being implemented, strategic VAT exemptions also lowered the prices of 59 essential medications such as those for cancer, diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, and mental illness. Palapit ng palapit na tayo. Palapit na tayo sa hangarin na ang lahat ng Pilipino ay makakakuha ng serbisyong pangkalusugan. Sa ngayon, mahigit 93% na ang kasapi sa PhilHealth. Sa pinagandang konsulta package ng PhilHealth, 21 klase ng mga gamot at 13 laboratory service ang ibibigay ng libre. Ngayon, meron na tayong mahigit 2,000 konsulta center sa buong bansa. Ang bilang na ito ay mas marami ng 35% mula nung nakalipas na taon. Upang mas lalo pang makatulong sa mga pasyente, ang dating 70 libreng dialysis session ay inakyat na natin sa 156. Mga kababayan, libre na po ngayon ang dialysis para sa karamihan ng Pilipino. Noong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 3.4 million na Pilipino ang nabigyan ng tulong sa ilalim ng Medical Assistance for Indigent Patients, program ng DOH. Tinutugunan natin ngayon ang ating kakulangan sa mga doktor at mga nurse sa pamamagitan ng mga reforma sa edukasyon, patuloy na pagsasanay at paniniguro sa kanilang kapakanan. Naglagay po tayo ng doktor sa halos 200 munisipyo sa bansa. Lalagyan natin din ng doktor ang natitirang 19 na bayan na wala pang doktor. Upang masuklian naman natin ang naging sakripisyo ng ating mga health workers sa pribado at pampubliko ng mga ospital nung nakaraang pandemya, ipapamahagi na sa kanila ang kanilang COVID Health Emergency Allowance at iba pang mga nabimbing benepisyo. Kasabay ng pangangalaga natin sa edukasyon at kalusugan ng ating mamamayan, tinitiyak din natin na may sapat at magandang hanap buhay sa loob at maging sa labas ng bansa. As of May this year, our employment rate rose to 95.7%, clear proof of the improvement from the severe unemployment that we experienced during the height of the pandemic. Employment then was at a low of 82.4%. But even with our current high level of employment, we must do more. We will generate additional jobs for the remaining 4.3% of our workforce, as well as for the 11.7% underemployed Filipinos seeking better employment opportunities. Under the banner of our fast-growing economy, we are aggressive in our investment and business promotions and facilitations. For that, we have not limited ourselves to the local economy, but we have looked to the global economy for partnerships and agreements. Our independent foreign policy, a friend to all and enemy of none, has proven effective. We have formed strategic alliances with our traditional and newfound partners in the international community. We have embarked on foreign trips to promote the interest of the country for peace building and for mutually beneficial purposes. These economic missions have yielded an estimated total investment value of 3.9 trillion pesos or 71 billion US dollars, with a potential to generate 175,000 jobs. The implementation of recent economic reforms is underway. BOI-approved investment projects have reached 1.2 trillion pesos during our first year, while other strategic investments approved for processing through the newly established green lanes amount now to 230 billion pesos. Our existing bilateral and multilateral trade agreements, notably within the ASEAN framework, and with Japan and with Europe, and allow us to leverage our competitive advantages and reap economic benefits. We will continue to forge more of these international partnerships that will lead to a more balanced trade strategy and a healthier economic position. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, is now in force. It is a multilateral trade arrangement with the ASEAN and other countries such as Australia, China, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand. We can now have competitive access to a regional market that comprises 2 billion people. As we address our weaknesses and develop competitiveness in other potential areas, we must also play to our strengths. Our competitive advantage must be leveraged. As a service export powerhouse, we must continue to nurture the growth of the services sector, particularly the information technology business process management sector, and of course, the tourism industry. Our tourism has always been a reliable pillar of our economic growth through the years, providing livelihood to more than 5 million of our citizens. Because of the reopening of the economy and the phenomenon of revenge travel, this sector is headed for a great rebound. From January to June this year, we have received 3 million international visitors. This number is already 62% of our 4.8 million target for the entire year. Mga kababayan, ang lahat ng mga ginagawa natin ito ay magbibigay bunga sa libu-libong hanap buhay para sa ating mga kababayan. To create these investment opportunities, we must ensure that an enabling business environment is in place, that there is peace and order, and that the rule of law governs. We will solidify our country's reputation as an attractive and reliable investment destination. Building on institutional reforms of recent years, we have created green lanes for strategic investments and expedited the business processes in various sectors and investment modalities. A progressive and rationalized system of taxation is a component of the ease of doing business. The CREATE law has made our corporate tax and incentive schemes equitable and business-friendly. There are more structural tax reforms that must be introduced to allow us to reach our socio-economic targets. Digitalization is the call of today, not the call of the future, not the call of the future, but of the present. It is here, it is needed, and it is needed today. Government must fully embrace digitalization to provide better service to the people through its vital frontline services and its back-end functions. Digitalization will support the government's data-driven and science-based planning and decision-making. It is the greatest, most powerful tool, not just to improve the ease of doing business, but also against many forms of graft and corruption. Data shows that digitalization, in conjunction with government streamlining efforts, has significantly boosted efficiency. Notable examples are in the areas of government payments, company and business registrations, issuance of permits and licenses, loan applications, and revenue collection. All our digitalization efforts will be linked to our payment systems, whose digital transformation has been accelerating at a remarkable rate. Digital payments accounted for 42% of the total retail payments made in 2022, whether by businesses or individuals or by the government. Its high trajectory is now well positioned to achieve Bangko Central's target of 50% of total retail payments by this year. The eGov PH app has also been launched. As envisioned, all key government services are to be integrated into the single and centralized mobile app for the convenience of the general public. The national ID system will be at the core of this digitally transformed network of government services. It will fundamentally change the lives of each Filipino. At 87% total registration, we are now closer to establishing a complete, accurate, and reliable digital database of our own for the entire population. This has already been integrated into the eGov PH app and can be now accessed by our citizens. Consistent with this transformative policy direction, all government offices must then ensure that their vital services are digitalized immediately. In response to this call, The Department of Migrant Workers launched last week the Department of Migrant Workers Mobile to make the journey of our overseas Filipino workers easier. Because of system upgrades, our internet speed has improved. As of June of this year, our fixed broadband speed ranks 47th amongst 180 countries. This ranking is 11 places higher than it was last year. Our mobile internet speed is now ranked at 83 out of 142 countries, which is 8 places higher than it was last year. There will be more improvements as our internet infrastructure undergoes further upgrades. Early this year, Starlink went live in the Philippines, now providing high-speed satellite broadband connectivity. Our national fiber backbone and broadband ng MASA projects will also deliver high connectivity and high-speed internet. We are prioritizing geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. The DICT has been directed to consolidate all these digitalized government services into the eGov.ph app, to establish the National Government Portal and the Philippine Business Data Bank to improve the internet speed in our country. With our e-commerce roadmap firmly in place, we are poised to take this digitalization drive further and beyond, utilizing e-commerce to take full advantage of new technologies. The first bill that I signed into law was the SIM Registration Act, because we are mindful of the risks and vulnerabilities that can lead to negative consequences. Digital users and consumers shall be protected from identity theft, phishing, other online scams through essential systems and safeguards, such as cybersecurity, data privacy, consumer complaint mechanisms, and financial literacy campaigns. The trainings necessary to ease the transition of those whose jobs would be affected by the shift to digitalization are also now being included in the curricula and programs offered by TESDA, DICT, and other agencies of government. It is our wish that one day foreign employment will be driven by choice, not by necessity. It remains a noble calling that our OFWs have answered, requiring great sacrifice from them, their families, and their communities. We are engaging with our partners in the international community to ensure a safe working environment for our countrymen. And as we do so, we are also putting in place responsive mechanisms for the social welfare, repatriation, and reintegration of our returning OFWs into the Philippine economy. As the world economy reopens, we are witnessing a rise in overseas Filipino deployment. In 2022, the number has increased by 62%. OFWs continue to send in historically high remittances, solidifying their role in our transformative economic growth. In 2022, our OFWs contributed $32.5 billion, or roughly 1.8 trillion pesos, to our economy. Several countries have also signified interest to explore bilateral labor cooperation with the Philippines in the areas of healthcare, tourism, hospitality, engineering, construction, and information technology. Recently, we signed agreements with Singapore, Austria, and the province of Alberta in Canada. Our priority is to ensure that the principles of ethical recruitment, fair employment, and the safe and orderly migration of our people are embodied in our agreements with other countries. For example, the deployment issue in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has now been resolved. And as of today, 70,000 of our OFWs have already been deployed to Saudi Arabia for employment. Moreover, the unpaid salaries and other related claims of some 14,000 OFWs who have been put out of work in Saudi Arabia during the pandemic are now being processed. The Crown Prince of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia himself personally committed to me that the unpaid claims of Filipino workers would now be paid. The continued employment of some 50,000 workers and the deployment of many more Filipino seafarers aboard EU vessels has also been assured. The lesson for us is that our education and skills training must always be attuned to the high, exacting, and constantly evolving global standards. Sa pagsusumikap ng mga mamamayan, walang hindi kakayanin. Kahit ang mga matatayog na pangarap ay maaabot, kasama ang inaasam na tahanan. Katuwang natin ang lokal na pamahalaan at pribadong sektor upang matulungan ang Pilipino sa pangangailangan ng pabahay. Patuloy ang serbisyo ng Pag-ibig Fund upang makatulong sa kanyang 15 milyong membro para makabili ng bahay. Sa nakarang taon, mahigit 100,000 ang kumuha ng housing loan sa Pag-ibig na nagkakahalaga ng 117 billion na piso. Ito ang pinakamataas ng bilang sa buong kasaysayan ng Pag-ibig. Itong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 148,000 na kabahayan at mahigit 30,000 mga Certificate of Eligibility of Lot Award ang naipamahagi sa Luzon, sa Visayas at sa Mindanao sa ilalim ng sari-saring mga programang pabahay ng pamahalaan. Mahigit 35,000 residential free patent at agricultural patent titles naman ang naibigay sa mga benepisyaryo nito sa buong bansa. Hindi pa dito natatapos. Papalawigin pa natin ang ating programa sa abot-kayang pabahay, lalo na para sa mga mahihirap nating kababayan. Itong nakalipas na taon, inilunsad natin ang pambansang pabahay para sa Filipino Housing Program o 4PH. Nagkaroon na tayo ng groundbreaking sa 25 lugar sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. Nagpirmahan na rin ng kasunduan upang simulan ang mga proyekto sa mahigit 100 lokasyon. Kung susumahin natin ito, mahigit 1 milyong kabahayan ang maialay natin sa ating mga kababayan sa buong bansa. The building blocks of progressive, livable, and sustainable communities will never be complete without appropriate and responsible action to mitigate and to adapt to the effects of climate change. We can never lose sight of our responsibility to the future. The economic agenda cannot and will not ever be incompatible with our climate change agenda. Climate change is now an important criterion in our integral national policies, in planning, decision-making, up to the implementation of programs. The potential advantages of such enlightened policies extend to jobs and livelihood, with the unlocking of the development of the green and blue economies. We have learned many painful lessons from past disasters, but we continue to be alert and prepared in our disaster response. It has in fact been commented that sometimes we are over-prepared for such natural disasters. Well, to continue that, we are reorganizing our response teams to make them more adaptable, agile, and effective in times of calamities and crises, with a clear unity of command. Our evacuation centers are being upgraded to withstand the greater forces of the new normal of extreme weather, as well as other natural and man-made disasters. Furthermore, new evacuation centers are also being built, of which 55 have already been completed. We remain committed to global decarbonization goals and the reduction of our carbon footprint. We preserve and protect the treasure that is our forests. Their value to the environment, to the ecology, and the economy is incalculable. We have adopted the concept of the circular economy, using nature as our model. The aim is to keep raw materials in a closed loop. In our world with scarce resources, the circular economy allows us to fully use these resources, minimize waste, and reduce the need for new resources, just as it is in nature. Just like our climate change action, this new system requires the participation of all sectors of society, up to each individual citizen for it to succeed. Only a whole of government and whole of society approach will enable us to do all of these. It is necessary to apply all the resources that are at hand if we are to progress as quickly as we need to. Collaboration is the key between and among government offices, and between government and the private sector, between industries and the academe, between government and international partners, and most importantly, collaboration between and among our populace. Kakailanganin natin ang tulong at kakayahan ng buong pamahalaan at ng buong bansa. And so, we shall do the same for the next 5 years. We seek not only to become more effective, but more, to become truly transformative. This approach will be operationalized through the interagency cooperations as well as through coordinated efforts between and among the 3 branches of government and the independent constitutional bodies. We have organized private sector advisory councils and national local mechanisms to establish the needed linkages. Once again, on this same principle, I urge the government to enact a new government procurement law and a new government auditing code. This to make government procurement and auditing more attuned to these changing times. We will give effect to the mandate of the Constitution and the Local Government Code as clarified by the Supreme Court very soon. Almost all the required devolution transition plans of the LGUs are done. To fully prepare them for optimal devolution, the necessary technical and financial assistance is being extended to our local governments. In everything that we do, the enduring Filipino quality of bayanihan will still be our guide. 5 taon mula nung matinding kaguluhan, babangon na ang Marawi City. Nanunumbalik na ang sigla sa pamayanan, maraming proyekto ang nakumpleto at mga infrastrukturang naitatayo. Kasalukuyan na tayo nagpoproseso ng tulong pinansyal para sa mga biktima ng Marawi Siege upang sila ay makapagsimula muli. Naway mamayani ang pag-asa. Naway magpatuloy ang pagkakaisa, pagmamatyag at paghahangad ng kapayapaan at kaunlaran. We are proud of the progress that the BARM has taken. It will be self-governing. It will be self-governing, it will be progressive, and it will be effective. But this was only made possible because of the cooperation of all key groups. We talked to the local governments, the royal families, the MNLF, the MILF, were all consulted and represented in this transition phase. The international community has also supported us in this smooth transition. Former adversaries are now partners in peace. Its functions have been defined, and its basic laws are now being written. Through the BARM, we have strengthened the nation's prospects for finally achieving sustainable progress anchored on a true and lasting peace in southern Philippines. We will continue to support the progress of the BARM, apace with our singular vision for all Filipinos. A strong and stable rule of law will strengthen the foundation of our transformation. Our police and armed forces are being strengthened and modernized to be more effective in maintaining peace and order and in defending our sovereignty. We fully support the judiciary's efforts to improve the justice system and to protect constitutional rights. The campaign against illegal drugs continues, but it has taken on a new face. It is now geared towards community-based treatment, rehabilitation, education, and reintegration to curb drug dependence amongst our affected citizenry. Last year, we launched the Buhay Ingatan, Droga'y Ayawan, or BIDA program, and established an additional 102 Balay Silangan Reformation Centers nationwide. We will relentlessly continue our fight against drug syndicates, shutting down their illegal activities, We will shut down their activities and dismantle their network of operations. Unscrupulous law enforcers and others involved in the highly nefarious drug trade have been exposed. I will be accepting their resignations. In their stead, we will install individuals with unquestionable integrity who will be effective and trustworthy in handling the task of eliminating this dreaded and corrosive social curse. We cannot tolerate corruption or incompetence in government. For almost half a century, some of our fellow Filipinos have taken to arms to make their views known and felt. We are now at a point in our history when their armed struggle has evolved. We have now progressed together towards peace and development. We have incorporated capacity building and social protection into our reintegration programs to guarantee full decommissioning of former combatants. Through community development and livelihood programs, the barangay development and enhanced comprehensive local integration programs have been effective in addressing the root cause of conflict in the countryside. To complete this reintegration process, I will issue a proclamation granting amnesty to rebel returnees, and I ask Congress to support me in this endeavor. Our journey to progress requires not only unity and social cohesion amongst our people. It is also imperative that our nation remains intact and inviolable, our sovereignty preserved. We will protect our sovereign rights and preserve our territorial integrity in defense of a rules-based international order. With our national interest paramount, we will always pursue constant dialogue and diplomatic approaches to the resolution of any issue that may arise. So the initial results of our efforts inspire confidence. Let us continue to be relentless in our aspiration of peace and progress. This has not been the work of a single person, neither a single branch of government, nor even the whole government acting alone. This is the collective synergy achieved by all Filipinos working together. It took a whole-of-nation effort to achieve this immediate recovery from our pandemic slump. Unity was what made us rise once more. Nagsisimula pa lamang tayo. Ang pagbangon ng ating bayan ay magpapatuloy pa. Hinihiling ko ang inyong tiwala at pakikiisa. Sa ganitong paraan, makakamtan natin ang ating tanging hangarin, ang maginhawa, matatag at panatag na buhay para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Makikipagtulungan tayo ng mabuti sa Kongreso para sa mga mahahalagang batas na kinakailangan para sa ating tuloy-tuloy na pag-ahon. And once again, I appeal to Congress for its support for the following priority legislations. The essential tax measures under our medium-term fiscal framework, such as excise tax on single-use plastics, VAT on digital services, rationalization of mining fiscal regime, motor vehicle users charge, road users tax, the military and uniform personnel pension, amendment of the Fisheries Code, amendment of the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act, amendment of the Cooperative Code, new government procurement law, new government auditing code, anti-financial account scamming, Tatak Pinoy law, the blue economy law, ease of paying taxes, LGU income classification, and the Philippine Immigration Act. In the past year, it has been a source of great hope and optimism to me to now know that there is an enormous pool of highly competent and dedicated workers serving in our government. It is up to us to provide good leadership and guidance. They love the Philippines and have responded to our call. I have stated before that my confidence in our future was grounded in our world-class quality workforce, be they the farmers in the field, corporate giants, government officials, school teachers, health workers, or employees. That confidence has been further buoyed by the demonstration of love for the Philippines. Every Filipino has unanimously risen to the challenge that we have made to them to be part of our nation's future. Handa silang maghandog ng tulong dahil mahal nila ang kanilang kapwa Pilipino at mahal na mahal nila ang Pilipinas. And thus, with this in my heart, I know that the state of the nation is sound and is improving. Dumating na po ang bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Inyo pong napakinggan ang State of the Nation Address ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Katatapos lamang po. And very encouraging po ang kanyang last words when he said, the Philippines is sound and improving. At ang sabi po niya ay, dumating na ang bagong Pilipinas. So yan po mga kababayan ang speech ng ating Pangulong Marcos sa loob po ng isang oras at 20 minuto. Sa unang bahagi po ng kanyang sona, nabanggit po ang tamang direksyon na po tayo. Yan po ang sinabi ng Pangulong Marcos. Tamang direksyon na ang inflation rate sa bansa dahil nagawa na niya o nagawa na po ng gobyerno na pababain ang presyo ng mga bilihin. Pero ito po yung gustong-gusto kong madinig sa kanya. At ito po ang one of the things that I expected him to talk about. Sabi po ng ating Pangulong Marcos, bilang na ang araw ng mga smuggler at hoarder na iyan. Yan po, umani po ng masigabong palakpakan ang tinuran ng Pangulong Marcos na ito. Ibinida din po ng Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa kanyang ikalawang sona ang pagbuti ng revenue generation ng bansa. In other words, gumanda po ang revenue collection dahil po sa Bureau of Internal Revenue. Isa sa mga dahilan ng pagtaas ng presyo, ayon sa Pangulo, ay ang mga smuggler, mga hoarder, at mga nagmamanipula ng produktong pang-agrikultura. Ang sabi po ng Pangulo, hinahabol na natin sila at hihabla ho natin ang mga iyan. Ito, mani din po ng masigabong palakpakan sa ating mga kongresista. In pulling a small fraction but considerable and underutilized government funds, we will use them for high-impact and profitable investments, and its gains will be reinvested in the country's economic well-being. Yan po ang sinabi ng Pangulong Marcos. They will guarantee that the investments will be made based on financial consideration alone, absent any political influence. Ang gaganda po ng sinabi ng Pangulong Marcos, pero siguro nag-aantay pa rin po ng battle plan, roadmap, kung tawagin o kaya talagang focus ng kanyang administrasyon for the next 1 year and the next 2 months. Pero hindi po maialis na ang Pangulo was very concerned about our people. Yung pabahay po sa ating pong mga kababayan. Ang sabi po dito talagang malapit na po na lahat ng mga Pilipino ay magkakaroon na po ng sariling tahanan through the pag-ibig. Bayanihan, ang sabi po niya, will be our guide. He also mentioned about enacting a new procurement law, more attuned to changing times. So sa ano natin mga kababayan, this is an indication that corruption will be curbed. Pagka na bago po ang procurement law at magkaroon po tayo ng pagbabago dito, mababawasan po dito ang korupsyon. Ayan, sabi po ng ating Pangulo, we cannot tolerate corruption and incompetence in government. Ito po, umani talaga ng masigabong palagpakan mula sa ating mga kongresista. Meron din pong tinura ng ating Pangulo, amnesty to rebel returnees. Ayan maganda po ito. And then he also said, we will protect our sovereign rights. And pagbabasehan po natin is the rule of law. Ayan referring to our claims sa West Philippine Sea and our row with China. We will defend our sovereignty according to international law. So, yan po. At marami pa pong ibang mga tinura ng ating Pangulo. But of course, this will take time for us to digest and probably discuss and analyze mga kababayan. Kanya asahan po ninyo na sa darating na mga broadcast po mula sa Radyo Pilipino ay mapapag-usapan ang mga ito. At titignan po natin where can the Filipino people cooperate, where can the Filipino people help para magkaroon po ng tinatawag na sound and improving economy. Gusto ko po sana na mapaniwalaan natin ang ating Pangulong Marcos na dumating na nga po ang bagong Pilipinas. Ito po ay will depend entirely and solely on cooperation between the government and its people. Kanya po, umaasa po kami dito po sa Radyo Pilipino na gampanan po natin bilang mga mamamayan ang ating mga responsibilidad as the government is expected to undertake the responsibility towards the Filipino people and our country. Well, mga kababayan, we will continue the discussions and analysis of the points taken up by the President during his SONA in our succeeding programs, lalong-lalo na sa Pulsong Pinoy, dito po sa Radyo Pilipino. So until then, sa inyong lahat po na nanood at nakinig sa ating programa at sa ating SONA 2023 ng Pangulong Marcos. Maraming salamat po. We'll see you again tomorrow alas 3 po hanggang alas 4 para sa ating Pulsong Pinoy dito po sa Radyo Pilipino. Sa ngalan po ng lahat ng mga reporters natin mula sa iba't ibang dako ng ating bansa, sa ating mga reporters po dyan sa Kongreso, at syempre po sa ating mga production staff who did all their best para maibigay po sa inyo ang zona ng ating Pangulong Marcos. Maraming salamat sa technical department. Thank you very much. Ma'am Cathy, maraming salamat. Ben Paipon po, nagsasabi thank you very much for allowing us into your homes and for giving us the privilege to be of service to you. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Inyong natunghayan ang Pulsong Pinoy kasama si Ben Paipon. Hanggang sa muli mula sa kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino.
Agi sa kaalaman, kabahagi sa kaligtasan.
Gana sa karaman kaparte sa seguridad.
Analo at kakapatan,